The invisible ceiling: why Black women remain the least supported in the workplace. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me today. I stand before you humbled and inspired after my recent conversation with Samirah Garnett, a force of nature whose groundbreaking research has shattered comfortable illusions about workplace equity. Samira isn't just documenting disparities. She's rewriting the narrative for an entire generation of Black women professionals. Her fearless advocacy has forced Fortune 500 companies to confront their failures, inspired legislation across 3 states, and created a movement that refuses to accept platitudes instead of progress. Through her work, thousands of Black women have found their voice and their power. What Samira revealed in our conversation wasn't just eye opening, it was heart stopping. We've all heard the polished corporate narratives about diversity and inclusion, the glossy reports, the inspirational social media posts, the carefully crafted statements about valuing all voices. But what if I told you that beneath this veneer of progress lies a stark, uncomfortable truth that fundamentally challenges everything we think we know about workplace equity? Despite years of corporate promises, despite the diversity statements and inclusion initiatives, despite the committees and consultants and commitments, Black women remain the least supported demographic in the workplace. Less than 4% ever reach the C suite, even though over 80% aspire to senior leadership positions. Let that sink in for a moment. This isn't just a statistic, it's a revelation that demands we question everything we've been told about progress in American workplaces. Many assume meaningful change is happening, but the daily reality for Black women is largely unchanged. Lack of senior sponsorship, persistent microaggressions, and systemic barriers continue to block advancement. This isn't just about numbers or policy, it's about the lived experience of being highly qualified, yet consistently overlooked and unsupported. As Samira explained with unflinching clarity, the gap between corporate promises and lived experiences has never been wider for Black women professionals. We're not just falling through the cracks, we're being held beneath the ceiling that corporate America pretends doesn't exist. Let me share 3 critical insights from our conversation that illuminate why this disparity persists and what can be done about it. First, allyship and sponsorship are essential for advancement, yet Black women are far less likely to have senior sponsors or allies with real influence. This directly impacts their ability to move into leadership roles. Second, the wage gap is both persistent and devastating. In places like New York, Black women earn just 66 cents for every dollar a white man earns, resulting in over $1 million lost over a lifetime and requiring Black women to work decades longer to catch up. Third, DEI rollbacks have real, immediate consequences. Recent policy changes have disproportionately affected Black women, especially those in federal roles, leading to higher unemployment and erasing hard won protections. Let's dive deeper into each of these realities. In 2025, McKinsey and Company and Leanin.org released a report that sent shockwaves through corporate America. The data was irrefutable. Black women were facing barriers that no amount of leaning in could overcome. They documented how Black women navigate workplaces where their expertise is constantly questioned, where microaggressions are daily occurrences, and where the absence of senior sponsors means their accomplishments go unnoticed and unrewarded. I remember sitting with Samira as she described the emotional toll this takes. Imagine, she said, Walking into a room where you're already presumed incompetent, where your ideas are ignored until repeated by someone else, where you're told you're too aggressive when you speak with confidence, but not leadership material when you moderate your tone. Now imagine experiencing this every single day for decades. Some forward thinking organizations have implemented targeted sponsorship programs, pairing Black women with influential mentors who actively advocate for their advancement. The results speak volumes. In these environments, Black women reported dramatically increased opportunities for high visibility projects and promotions. Their careers accelerated, their contributions were recognized, their leadership was valued. But here's the heartbreaking reality: these programs remain exceedingly rare. Despite corporate diversity statements, Black women's daily experiences have seen little improvement over the past decade. The study brought national attention to the importance of sponsorship and allyship, influencing some firms to reassess their diversity strategies. As Samirah noted, sponsorship isn't just nice to have, it's the difference between advancement and stagnation for Black women professionals. Without someone in power actively advocating for you, excellence alone is rarely enough. Now, let's talk about what happens when progress is not just stalled, but actively reversed. The collapse of federal DEI initiatives in 2025, following executive orders, led to mass layoffs of Black women in government roles. Black women, overrepresented in federal positions, lost jobs at a disproportionate rate as DEI protections were dismantled. Samirah shared the story of Janelle, a senior policy advisor with 15 years of impeccable service. When the DEI programs were cut, her department was restructured, her position eliminated. Within 6 months, she found herself depleting her savings, facing foreclosure, and questioning her worth, not because of her performance, but because the very protections designed to ensure fair treatment had been stripped away with the stroke of a pen. Advocacy groups mobilized to provide legal and career support, and some states began implementing their own equity programs to fill the gap. Many Black women faced prolonged unemployment, but grassroots support networks helped some transition to new industries. Black women have historically sought stability in federal jobs, relying on DEI policies for equal opportunity. State level initiatives in places like New York began to counteract federal rollbacks, offering new hope. The case highlighted the fragility of progress and the need for sustained, enforceable equity commitments. When DEI initiatives collapse, Samirah explained, Black women don't just lose jobs, they lose decades of hard won protections and opportunities. The message sent is clear: your presence was tolerated, not valued. The third reality we must confront is the persistent wage gap. Black Women's Equal Pay Day in 2025 brought this issue into sharp focus. In New York, leaders and advocates rallied to spotlight a devastating truth: Black women earn only 66 cents for every dollar earned by white non Hispanic men, leading to over $1 million lost in lifetime wages. Think about that for a moment. $1 million. That's not just money, it's educational opportunities for children, it's healthcare access, it's retirement security, it's generational wealth that never materializes. Samirah introduced me to Tanya, a financial services professional with 20 years of experience and an MBA from a top university. Despite consistently outperforming her peers, she discovered she was being paid 40% less than white male colleagues, with similar or lesser qualifications. When she raised the issue, she was labeled difficult and passed over for promotion. Legislative advocacy, public campaigns, and coalition building pushed for stronger pay equity laws and enforcement. New York State enacted new measures to address wage disparities, including increased transparency and reporting requirements. The wage gap isn't just about money, Samirah emphasized. It's about time, decades of additional work required to achieve the same financial security. It's about dignity, being told through your paycheck that your work is simply worth less. These realities paint a picture that's both challenging and clear. Despite surface level commitments to diversity, Black women continue to face unique barriers to advancement, fair compensation, and job security. But this isn't just about identifying problems, it's about creating solutions. And that's where the concept of softness, yes, softness, enters the conversation in a powerful way. For many Black women, the journey to professional success has been defined by strength, resilience, and often survival mode. The constant need to be twice as good, to never show vulnerability, to carry the weight of representation. These pressures create a particular kind of exhaustion that goes beyond typical workplace stress. As we discussed in our interview, there's a growing recognition that Black women deserve the space to be soft, to prioritize their well being, to set boundaries, to say no without guilt, and to advocate for themselves without fear of being labeled difficult or aggressive. This isn't about abandoning strength, it's about redefining it. It's about recognizing that true empowerment includes the freedom to be vulnerable, to rest, to heal, and to demand the support and recognition that has been systematically denied. Softness isn't weakness, Samirah noted. For Black women who've been in survival mode their entire careers, embracing softness is revolutionary. This revolution requires action on multiple fronts. For organizations, it means moving beyond performative diversity initiatives to create concrete pathways for advancement. It means implementing robust sponsorship programs that pair Black women with influential leaders who can advocate for their promotion and development. It means addressing pay disparities with transparency and accountability. For allies and colleagues, it means using your privilege and influence to amplify Black women's voices, to challenge biased systems, and to create space for their leadership and expertise to be recognized and valued. For Black women themselves, it means embracing the power of community, finding spaces where they can be authentic and supported, and recognizing that self advocacy is not selfish, it's necessary. I want to end with a truth that should shake us all. The invisible ceiling that constrains Black women's potential doesn't just harm them, it robs our entire society of the leadership, innovation, and perspective we desperately need. The data is clear, the experiences are consistent, the injustice is undeniable. So I ask you today, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you look away because it's uncomfortable? Will you nod in sympathy but take no action? Or will you become part of the solution? How will you use your influence, no matter how big or small, to ensure that Black women are not just present in your workplace, but truly empowered, sponsored, and paid equitably? This isn't just a professional issue, it's a moral one. And your response to it will define not just your career, but your character. The invisible ceiling is real, but together we can shatter it. Thank you